Hello everybody, this is Kay and welcome to my channel, Junking with Gigi. I have a super quick and super fun and easy project for you today, using up some envelopes and some trims and some of these paper flowers that I have made. I made these flowers, a whole bunch of them, when my husband and I went to the beach this summer. It's about an 11-hour drive, and he likes to do the driving, so I had to come up with a project to do in the car because I can't just sit there and I can't read a whole lot either, because I get a little bit of a queasy stomach doing that. So I made up a bunch of these while we were on that drive, and all I did was take circles of different papers and fold them up a certain way and then cut them, and when you unfold them, what you have is some petals, some flower shapes depending on how you cut it. And then I put several layers together and attached them together with a brad. And then I took markers, I don't know if you can see, but I did dots, and I did, like on this one here, I did some edge lines, just made some markings with some markers to add a little bit more interest to these flowers. And I've got a whole bunch of them completed here, as well as in this pouch. I still have some that I've put together, but I haven't yet used the marker on them. And I also have in here just some pieces, some petals that I haven't actually put into flowers yet, so, or cut into shapes yet. So I've got more of those to make, but I wanted to think of a way to use these, and I have used a few of them, but not too many. And so I came up with this idea, and actually I didn't come up with it entirely. I have to give a little bit of credit to Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah for inspiring this. I watched a video of her doing something similar, and she was using some clusters that she made, but my thought was, well, I can use these flowers that I made instead of the clusters. So we're going to make a few more of these today. These are the only two I've made so far, and I'm going to grab out a couple of different envelopes here. This is a bit of a larger one. You can do any size. This envelope is actually 8 3/4 by 5, almost 6. So I don't know, maybe this one will be a little bit large for popping in a journal. So I'm second guessing myself on that one. I think I'll put it aside and rethink that. But I've got a couple more of those brown ones. I've actually got a blue one. I've got a lot of the plain white ones, which they're pretty too. I'm not super crazy about plain white in my journals, but I do use it every once in a while. I've got a couple of these kind of grayish ones. So we're just going to make a couple of these together today, and I'll show you my process. It's so quick, so easy, and super fun. I'm going to start with one of these brown ones, and I've chosen the paper flower that I want to use with this, as well as some trim. This is kind of a dusty rose colored trim. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this flat down to the inside of the envelope. So I'm going to kind of open it up like that. I'm going to put some glue along this edge, just a little bit. And I'm using my Aleene's Tacky Glue today, by the way. And I'm just going to kind of open that up and fold that to the inside and press that down. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Distress ink in Walnut Stain, and I'm going to ink all these edges as best I can. Now, I don't really need to ink these front edges, I don't think. They might show through a little bit through the trim. But I'm just going to go ahead and ink them anyway, just in case they do show through. I'm going to ink this all around. Now, the idea is to glue this down to your journal, and I'll show you how I will probably use these when I get this finished. So don't really need to ink it on the other side. I'm just going to ink this all the way around on this front side, and then I like to try to ink this little line here. So what I do is I just kind of tilt my dauber and just kind of go over that edge like that a little bit, and that kind of brings that edge out a little too, which I like that look. I think that looks pretty neat. All right, got that all inked up, and this back edge as well. Okay. Once you have that all inked up, and you don't have to ink. This is an optional thing because I know some people don't. I in particular, I do like to ink. I just think it brings out edges and gives the item a lot more dimension. So the next thing I'm going to do is put my trim on here. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it just from that corner to the middle here and chop that off, and then make another one for this edge. And I'm going to end up having to trim this a little bit more, but so I do trim it a little bit long. I'd rather have a little bit extra than not enough. And so I'll be gluing those down, and I'm just going to run some of my glue right along both of these edges and glue down that lace. Before I glue my flower down, I am going to take my ink and just touch the edges of this outer petal a little bit with it, just to help it stand out a little more. I did not ink any of these when I was in the car on our trip because I just didn't think to grab any of my inks, and I just honestly never even thought about it, inking. That would have been a lot of inking for one flower, because this particular one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, and I feel like it would have taken me 20 minutes just to ink all the edges of all the petals for one flower, and that's, I don't know, I just didn't think of it, and I don't think I'd want to do it anyway. So now I'm just going to glue this down to this envelope like this. Now I want to make sure I don't put glue underneath this part, or I'm going to be gluing my pocket shut. So I'm going to hold it right there and just put the glue all over everywhere else. Okay, I'm going to trim off on these edges. That one is done. Now you can decorate it more if you want. I think I'm going to leave this one. I do have this trim, so I was thinking, you know, you could add a little bit more. I could probably cut one of these flowers out and add it up here or somewhere, but I'm going to leave this one alone. I like it just like this. Now I'm going to grab one of my journals. This is a journal I'm working on. I'm using a book cover and then a soft spine. But here's a page where, you know, if you were going to put this into a journal, you know, first of all, you would want your pocket to be accessible from this side. So what you could do is just glue it down, or you can glue 3 sides and you could have a pocket behind it as well as this pocket. Let me grab my thing. So if you glued it down on 3 sides, you'd have a pocket here as well as this pocket. You could even just glue it on 2 sides and make it kind of a corner tuck like that. But that's all you would have to do to stick it in a journal. Now, another option would be to tip it in or hinge it in. And then you could actually flip it over. And then, of course, you might want to decorate that side as well. What I mean by hinging it in would be get a strip of paper or some washi tape, and you just basically glue that or stick that along that edge, gluing it to this page, but so that it could still open like that. So quick, so simple, and yet so pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to make one with this blue envelope. Now this is a bright blue. I realize that. Some people might not like that in a journal. And personally, most of the time I go for neutrally type colors, but every once in a while I want to put something bright and colorful in my journals. So I'm going to do this one and have it ready for a journal that I might need to put it in sometime. So for starters, again, I'm going to glue down this flap to the inside. This is the flower that I've chosen for this envelope and this trim. I think that is so pretty. But just like before, I'm going to ink up my envelope first, and I'm going to use my Distress ink in Black Soot this time. And I am going to try to ink up these edges real good, because with this trim, they will show. So I'm going to ink this up all the way around with this Black Soot. I don't really want to make a smeary mess by trying to take my Black Soot pad along there, so I'm going to use one of these little makeup brush sponge eyeshadow applicator things, and I'm going to try and catch that edge by kind of, see how it's not really glued down all the way, so I'm just going to kind of bend it out, and I'm going to just try to catch the edge with like this, with this little applicator. I did get a little smeary there, but that's gonna have to be okay. It is what it is, right? All right, so next I'm gonna take my trim. I'm gonna go, now this is a little bit different, and I don't think I want to cut these off. So I'm going to take them, let me just cut off those little fuzzies at the edge there, right up to that corner like that. And let's see, I think I'm going to take it down to about right there. So I need 4 of the little flowers for each side, I'm sure. So I'm going to cut 4 there, and I'm going to cut 4 for this edge, and glue those down. So for this, I think I'm going to put my glue actually onto my trim. I am going to get a different glue out though, so that I can put some on each of the little petals. I'm going to grab my art glitter glue just because I've got this precision tip on here, and it'll make it easy to put the glue, to kind of dot the glue around on all the little petals. Okay, that was a little bit tedious getting those on there like that, but got her done. I'm going to take my flower now. I am going to go ahead and ink the outer edge of petals just a little bit with the same color, the black soot, and get that glued down. I'm going to make sure, let's see, I'm going to have it about right there, so I'm going to hold it over here where I don't want to put any glue. I wonder if on this one it would look good to have some more trim over here, or maybe I could just put one little flower in each corner. I think I'll do that. I forgot about using my art glitter glue with the precision tip for those, but maybe that will be okay. I may have to go back in later and just kind of try and stick some glue under there, but there's another one done. Okay, I'm going to do one more with you today using one of these kind of grayish, it's like a wood grain pattern to it, envelopes. And I've chosen this flower. And I'm thinking about either using this pink trim on the edges there, or I really want to use this up. I had a bunch of this, and I've used most of it in other projects, but this has been just hanging around, and I'm just wondering if maybe I can make it work on this envelope. So we'll see. First, though, I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other ones and glue down the flap on the inside. And then ink it up. I think I will go back to my walnut stain distress ink on this one. I'm having a tough time deciding what to do on the trim. I kind of want to use this, but I think that, I don't know, that might be too much if I put some of it here and some of it down here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put my trim on the edge, just like I did with the other ones, on the edge of the pocket here, and then see what that looks like and see if I can make these work in some other spots. So I've got that cut to that edge. I'm going to cut this one on this edge. I'm going to glue these down. I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart because I'm thinking maybe just one little flower there and maybe something like this down here. Or maybe, I'm making this too complicated. Maybe I should just leave it. What do you think? Or just maybe put just one there or there. No, I'm doing that. Let me just glue that down. All right, this is what I ended up deciding to do in the end. I think it still looks pretty. I will save these other ones for another project. And, oh, I've got to trim off these edges. And there it is. And in no time flat, we made that one and this one and this one. And it, like I said, it was super quick and easy and fun. And aren't these pretty? I just love them. And then I had these other two that I had already made. And another thing is you can turn them any way you want on the page. So if you want to put them on the left side of your journal page and have your pocket coming out to the left, you can do that. Either way will work. So that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some inspiration from this. And if you did, and if you don't mind, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Make a comment if you'd like. And oh, I was going to ask if you would like me to do a video on making these flowers. I'd be happy to do that. Just leave me a comment below. Have a blessed day.